lads, this is Fenner from Fenner, and it's time for a bit of replay analysis. I got some ZvP action, and I got this replay about 2 weeks ago from this guy. He wanted some help with his ZvP, he's been struggling. So it's a bit late, but you know, get to it eventually, and hopefully it'll help him out, and hopefully it will help out a couple of guys that are watching as well that are struggling with ZvP and Heart the Swarm. So let's go ahead and jump straight into this. Full screen, there we go. So I'm just going to try and focus on pretty much everything, and then at the end, because this guy's in Platinum League by the way, so this is a Platinum level game, and I'm just going to focus on everything that comes to my mind as we're watching it, and then at the end I'll sum everything up so I can focus on the biggest points that will give the biggest improvement. So we're just going to zoom past all this, and I'm expecting a 15 pull, yeah there we go, 15 pull, and then most likely a 16 hatch. Also, this map should probably be vetoed. You can get some really silly positions on this map, because you can get these spawns where if you got this spawn and they got this spawn, then your third is going to be really close to them, because you can't take that third straight away since there's rocks on it. So I definitely recommend vetoing this map. It's a bit silly. The rotationally symmetrical maps are always a bit silly, but we got the overload going into the main right now, and we're going to be able to see that it is a Nexus first, because we see the forge timing. Yeah, if the forge timing was later than that, then it could be a, I mean if the forge timing was earlier than that, then it would be a forge first. So we've got the normal 16 hatch here, and we're going to be able to fly in and see this Nexus first to make sure that it is down as well. So this is all nice from Razorrr so far, and yeah, this is going to be pretty standard so far. We've got 2 lings coming out. I like to get 4 lings nowadays, but it doesn't matter too much. And this looks pretty good so far. Need to start a second queen or go and take the third hatch right now. So let's have a look what happens here. It looks like the third hatch might be a little bit late, so hopefully is a queen going to start on this. Yep, there we go, we got a queen, so this isn't too bad. And yeah, you definitely want to get the third hatch before the overload. So this is a slight misstep. It's not going to cost you too much, but you know, definitely get the third base before the overlord, as that will help your economy quite a bit. And then you can get the overlord on 24 supply after getting the third base, and that'll be the best economy option for you. So if you see that this probe scouts, and we see that he runs up there, so we want to keep vision on him. Nice, he's chasing it with the greens, so he knows that he's got chased out of the base, which is really good. With these lings, let's have a look at this overlord wants to go around here so you can spot the gas. But that overlord, what was he going? He could have gone over there, and then you could have kept that one there. But you want to be looking, if you got 2 lings, you want to be sending one looking around the map, looking in all these crevices to make sure you find the probe. So we have found the probe, but you also want 1 ling at the front of the base so you can see when they're producing a zealot and when they're producing a stalker, which is extremely helpful. Let's have a look at the saturation. You've got good saturation, you're rallying into the natural now, so we've got 16 on the main and 1 over here. And we want to be getting an overlord right now, yes. And a third queen would be good right now. A lot of people have different timings on these. I do believe third queen around 30 supply is the best, as then you get a creep tumor out as well, and you keep up with all your production. Where are the overlords? This overlord needs to get out of the base as soon as possible. I just realized I'm watching this replay in normal speed. I'll probably just want to speed that up a bit so we get through this a bit faster. But this overlord wants to get out of the base soon. And the zealot will pop out soon. We do want to get at least 1 ling at the front so we can see when there is a zealot coming out, when there's a stalker coming out, and that'll be good. So nice sending this overlord knight right now, and then you'll be able to spot the gas as well. And the macro so far looks pretty decent. We've got double gas going around 6 minutes. Saturation is good, but we haven't got that third queen yet, so this third queen is going to be pretty late, and that's going to affect the economy. Once you get up to like 60, 70 supply, you'll start floating because you won't have the lava that you need to produce it. We've got 8 lings on the way now. This is kind of weird. There's not really any reason for 8 lings right now. We haven't seen a stalker move out. We haven't seen a zealot move out. What we have seen, or we should see right now, is we should be checking this gas at about 6:30, because if he hasn't taken this gas before 6:30, then you want to throw down a Razorrr. Because if he hasn't taken it, that most likely means it's going to be a 2 base all-in. Most likely a 7 gate or 8 gate or something like that. If he gets it before 7 minutes, then it's most likely not going to be, but it might be a bit of 4 gate pressure, so we definitely need to check this gas, and I wonder if he's going to check. In fact, I'm just going to speed through it and then we'll jump back Oops. Then we'll jump back to this point. Is he going to check it? So he checks it now, but that's really late. Like 7 minutes. It's a really late check. Luckily, the gas timing still isn't really painful because he did take that third gas, but you really want to check that a bit earlier. If he doesn't go down before 6:30, throw down a Razorrr so that you can defend those all in. So we've got the rest of the drones going to the third base. I really like this, nice saturation, and the gas is up in perfect timing as well. Lair coming down, we want to be getting that speed. Oh, we went speed before lair actually. I prefer to go lair before speed, but that's probably mostly personal preference. I prefer lair before speed because I think Hydra openings are really good in Harvest Swarm, and you can get them out a bit faster if you go lair before speed. Yeah, those 8 lings earlier on would have hurt your economy quite a bit, and if there's no Zealot Stalker moving out, then you don't really need to do it. We have got the sack from Razorrr, and this is a bit late as well. You can do this quite a bit earlier because the tech building usually goes down around 6:30, so you can throw it down earlier. It looks like he sacked this one as well. So, oh, he's sacking it right now. So we see 3 gates. We're seeing 3 gates in a row, so it looks like a mortal expand so far. So we're going to assume it's a mortal expand. But the thing is, we don't want to take a 4th base and drone it up before he has taken a 3rd base. So until we see this 3rd base, oh in fact it would be down here. Well, I guess he could take it here as well. Then we don't want to drone. So we want to get the scouting on both of those bases. We want a ling here. We've got an overlord on here, so that's good, but we need a ling on here as well. And probably a ling at the front of the base as well. I like this ling pump right now. This ling pump is really good. And this game's looking really good so far from Platinum player. I can't really fault him too much, except for the few little build order things. So what we want to do with the lings is we want to keep them out on the map. We want to scout with like 1 or 2 lings at the front, and then as soon as he moves out, then we can try and counterattack, especially if it's a mortal sentry, which it looks like it's going to be right now, as he has thrown down these extra 3 gates. This is a bit greedy. You don't really want to throw away those lings, because if you had all those lings right now, then you could counterattack. So we can kind of see that it's an immortal sentry right now. This is pretty standard. 3 immortals and a bunch of sentries, 8 sentries in fact, and the mothership core. So if you see this moving out, then you counterattack with your lings. Once he gets to about here, then you just counterattack. You'll force some units in the main. You'll force a pylon or at least a couple of cannons. Your goal isn't to like win the game with the counterattack, it's just to force a few little things which will make holding the push easier. And then once they're forced, like he warps in a couple of units here, then you can just run all your lings back to defend, along with the hydras which we've got coming along now, which should be really good. You've got the hydra range going first as well, so that's going to be really good against the immortal sentry instead of speed, which allows you to be more aggressive. The range allows you to be really good in defensive mode. So let's have a look further on. He's losing a lot of lings. Razor's losing a lot of lings. Running around the back now, so it looks like he does want to go to for a counterattack. Oh, actually he's running home. Yeah, going for a counterattack with these lings is definitely best. Let's see what he does. Some of the sentries is not good, but yeah, it looks like you're being too scared with your lings. Like, they're so fast. Like, once he's at this point on the map, you can start attacking this wall off. He's gonna have to warp in something, because like he's got to be scared of you breaking in, even if your plan isn't to do that. Like, he's gonna warp in something, maybe a second, third cannon, maybe a couple of pylons behind here, and then this push is going to be significantly weaker. So also one thing, if we went for the earlier queen as well, we would have had a lot more creep spread coming out here, which would make this push easier to hold off. Our injects haven't been perfect, but it looks like we've only missed 1 on each, so not exactly terrible. But one thing as well, we need a macro hatch. We need a macro hatch, and also we have overdroned. To hold 2 base all-ins, you kind of want to stay on 4 gas, which will allow you to get a lot more lings out, and also we need that macro hatch. So in fact, because we've got the 6 gas, you won't start floating, but it will be a lot harder to hold off with just pure hydra. If this was an earlier timing, you'd struggle a lot. This is a pretty late timing for an immortal sentry, but yeah, the counterattack is the most important thing here. It'll help so much defending immortal sentry all-ins. In fact, any all-ins that you can counterattack against. So let's go ahead and have a look at this. This could be pretty painful. Hydra range. We don't want to be moving this far up creep. This is really bad. We want to stay around creep, maybe bait a couple of mortals and move back without hydra speed. That's pretty hard. It turned out quite well for us because his force fields weren't that great, and he lost a couple of sentries. and now this time warp isn't that great either, and he's not warping in more units, so this isn't the best of multi-sentry. Everything looks like you should be able to hold this pretty well. In fact, those force walls are pretty decent. You're getting a bit too aggressive, but you want to fight back here so you can bring your greens back into fight your own creep and things like that, but this is going pretty well so far. You're holding off this really, oh, actually it's a warping, I didn't see that. Yeah. So one thing we want to do is, what I always do at the start of the game is I put an overlord on the edge of the base. I think that's my 4th overlord I send to the edge of my bases, so I can see crap like this coming. And usually you can react to it because this isn't very strong. Also, something else I didn't notice, he got this 4th base. That's really weird. I think it's better just to take a macro hatch because this 4th is so far away that it's not going to help too much. Maybe if it was another map where the 4th is closer, like if you could take this, then maybe you could take it instead of a macro hatch, and that'd be good. But as it is, I think it's too far away, and the counter-attack should have been there. We got the warp prism coming in the main, so we do see this pretty early on, so... And we're holding the Immortal Sentry really well, so you can just pull like a couple of Hydras, or just use these rallying ones to catch this. I mean, I think this game's going to come down to this mistake of not seeing the warp prism, which is just, you know, a mistake of being too concentrated on the ball. And, you know, once they warp in, they become a lot stronger. Yeah, so losing this is really painful, and that is going to be pretty much costing you the game right there. Since you were holding the Immortal Sentry all in fine, like, he was never going to win with that. And now the game's lost because you didn't see the Warp Prism, which is just, you know, you just need to pay more attention to the minimap, have Overlords spread out. You can have them, I don't really recommend put them in the dead space in ZvP, because if they open Stargate, then you get screwed. So just one Overlord there, and then maybe one there would be really, really nice. Or, you know, one there, just so you get vision of this ground, and that'll give you a bit of an earlier timing just to react to it. So yeah, I think this game's pretty much just going to come down to that Warp Prism getting the base. Now he's taking the 3rd base. Also something else, we should have been scouting with an Overseer much earlier on. Like, we want to know exactly when he is pumping Colossi so we can react by either going Fast Hive to get the Vipers or getting Corruptors out. So I'm not sure if he did Overseer Scout, I'm pretty sure he didn't. Let's have a look real quick. Let me grab it. There we go. No, it looks like we've got no Overlord Scout, so that's another thing we need to look out for. We need to Overlord Scout, we need to spot this. Like, you shouldn't bite it, it's like, it's just a 7 Zealot warping. As long as you pull your units back, you're fine. And that's also something about being too aggressive over here against the Immortal Sentry, is that you're pulling your units too far out of position. Like, you don't need to be that far out to defend, like, you're just defending. If you're counter-attacking, then it's different. You know, like, you clean up the push and then you want to go and kill him, then it's a bit different. But yeah, I think this game's going to come down to that. And, you know, this Corruptor timing can be decent, but it's going to be a lot weaker because you lost that hatch. I think I just prefer to go for fast Viper in this situation, because if you survive until you get Vipers out, you're in a really, really good situation. Like, Vipers and Hydras together are so, so good. Corruptors aren't that great. They are good for holding off like 2 base Colossi timings, but against 3 base Colossi timings, they're not that great. So, again, it's pretty much lost. So, this game pretty much all comes down to not spotting the Warp Prism. The macro is pretty good. There were a few mistakes in there, so let me sum this up real quick. So, the macro, get the 3rd hatch before the Queen, and then get an Overlord on 24, get a 3rd Queen on 30 supply, and then get an Overlord on 32, and spread a Creep Tumor with the 1st Queen after injecting the natural, and then run her down to the 3rd. That will allow you to push the creep out really quickly and connect your bases as well. And then get a 4th Queen on around 48 supply as well from the 3rd hatch to allow you to push out the creep even more. So you'll get like 4 creep tumors then, which will allow you to defend against things like this a lot easier. Also, the lings that you produced around 45 supply, I believe it was, were not necessary. Like, you had full vision at the bottom of the ramp and there was no reason to produce it. Here we go, we've got the lings now, about 40-ish supply. We've got 8 lings coming out. And we actually did pull the lings back, so I don't know why we did that, but I guess the zealot. Can we just have a quick look at that? Let's have a look. So we got lings at the bottom of the ramp, and then for no reason we pull them back. So just leave one ling here. If the zealot comes out, he'll hit the ling. You just run him away and then run him back to see if the stalker comes out. If no stalker comes out, then you don't need to produce the lings. If a stalker comes out with the zealot, then you can produce, like, you know, as many lings as you need to defend it, which is like, I don't know, about 8 to 10 lings maybe. Pretty much how many you've got now, but you produce them way too early. So the zealot stalker does come out, but you didn't really know that was going to happen. So I'm assuming Razorrr is doing this every game without actually thinking about it. A lot of people don't actually pressure with zealot stalker. Even though a lot do, a lot of people don't, and that means you can be a lot greedier against those people. So that's just something to look out for. You want to be reacting, not just doing things blindly. What else was there? We need a macro hatch. And we also need to scout this gas a lot earlier, because we're throwing down a Razorrr blindly. If we haven't seen the gas, I mean, we should be throwing down the Razorrr because he's got no gas, but we haven't seen it, so I believe he throws it in around now. Yeah, there we go. So that Razorrr is not needed if you're not scouting the gas. I mean, if he's got a gas before 6:30, you don't need it, so you can play a lot more greedy, and you're just doing a lot of things blindly instead of reacting. In this case, we would have thrown it down if we saw it, because he didn't have the gas before 6:30 and he needed to defend all ins. But other than that, you don't really need it. So there's a couple of things that can make you a lot greedier. I mean, right now, he's still pretty good timing for getting up to 70 supply, actually. And also, yeah, Evo chamber timing is nice. Going up to 6 gas is pretty painful as well, because if it hits an earlier timing, like a parting Immortal Sentry will be moving out right now. This guy's Immortal Sentry is slow. If you go up to 6 gas against the parting timings, then you're gonna die. Like, you just won't have enough units. Yeah, and you know, other than that, that's the macro part. Then there's the decision making with the lings. The ling pump's really nice. Like, it allows you to control the map before your hydras get out, and you can counterattack. Like, the counterattack is one really important thing in this game, because your macro wasn't that bad. Like, I gave you a couple of tips there, but the macro wasn't too bad. Counterattack with lings, it'll help out so much with this. And obviously not generating the lings. That was probably a bit of a mistake. Focusing on macro too much there. And then, you know, spotting this warp prism is just, I guess it's just more of a experience thing. Like, you need to be aware that there is a possibility of a warp prism, and then you need to be looking at your minimap all the time to make sure it doesn't happen, because that's pretty much the only thing that lost you the game. Your macro is good, even though it can have some small improvements, like it was pretty good, and the warp prism getting into the main is just like the killing blow, which shouldn't really happen. It's like on the production tab, as when that came in, you had 7 hydras and 10 lings. If they were there as that was warping in, like, all you have to do is rally these eggs to there, and then this doesn't do anything at all, and you're holding off the Immortal Sentry at the same time, and that's game 1. Like, that's all you needed to do, is just like spot that warp prism. That's pretty much the deciding point of the game. Work on the macro though, just fix those few small things, and then just work on, you know, looking at the minimap more, and doing a counterattack is really important as well. So I hope that helped you out. 3 points there, just the macro, the counterattack, and spotting the warp prism are the most important things. The rest is pretty good. And I think if you get that down, you won't be dying to these stupid 2-base all in. Players are doing right now, a lot of what players don't get penetration is that it doesn't slow down the timings at all. I mean, actually it increases the timings. Don't ask